What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, it looks like it's finally happened. Nintendo's new release on the Switch leaked out online, which probably shouldn't be too surprising based on the history of all of their Switch releases, but there were some questions around Nintendo's strategy leading up to its release, as well as bits and pieces of the code that have been found that reference 4K resolution. Well, we'll go over that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about, just a ridiculous rumor that exploded online yesterday around Microsoft and Valve, and then we'll also be talking about Sony, as they do seem to have something set up and planned for next week that's not necessarily just that showcase. So if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton, and if new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below, and of course, members of the channel do get Newswave early. If you'd like to learn more about that, click the join button down below this video. And we're going to start today with the new Call of Duty game that we're going to be seeing at that Xbox showcase. However, it does appear that teases have already started to appear online, which we can see this was posted up. This over on X, as it was pointed out by Charlie Intel, that the first Call of Duty Black Ops 6 teaser is here. This is based on a new website that was found, The Truth Lies. Now, on this website, it's like an old kind of CRT TV that you can scroll around through channels, and you will indeed find different trailers and video files that'll play that seem to be alluding to the story and the campaign for the new Call of Duty Black Ops game. And I can see a picture of like different monuments and stuff being defaced. And it also appears that Bill, who will be coming back to later on in the show, does have an image that's blurred out completely with their name kind of plastered around it, redacted. It's the new Call of Duty game, and it looks like they have some of the key art there that I guess they pulled from servers or what have you. So yeah, I expect there to be more teases leading up to its eventual reveal at that showcase, since we do see them at times tie things into like Warzone, for example, just to keep people interested and get them ready for that big reveal of what looks like the next Call of Duty Black Ops. So we'll see heading into that showcase. Also, it does appear that Sony is getting things ready on the back end for their PlayStation Mobile initiative. This, of course, them developing what sounds like their console intellectual properties like God of War for phones. Well, we can see this is posted up. This was noticed by Tweaktown. And this is a job listing for, they say, PlayStation Studios Mobile, seeking an experienced software engineer to design PlayStation's platform for developing, publishing, and operating free-to-play mobile games. An individual in this role will spearhead the design and implementation of this platform, work in partnership with internal teams to connect mobile games to PlayStation services, and ensure that all mobile games meet PlayStation's quality standards. And the way that this is kind of being interpreted by Tweaktown, I think it's correct. It's kind of the platform in the back end that ties all of this together, as you see there, PlayStation Network. Okay, well, if they have we'll say a store or an app that you sign into on your phone that's then also connected to your PlayStation network, as we have that PlayStation app, but one that also has like these different free-to-play games, or they're more premium games, or who knows, maybe the God of War Mobile is free to play and microtransactions, that kind of thing. It does seem like, at least on the back end, Sony is preparing that development and trying to get everything set up to tie it all together. And that is part of PlayStation. I'm at least curious to see how exactly they navigate that with really a space that is very used to free-to-play with microtransactions all over the place. Will they try to buck the trend a bit and come out with a more premium price game, or stick with it? Oh, and we did have a bit of a tease here for that Xbox showcase that could lead to massive disappointment, but nonetheless, we have this posted up by Special Nick. Says, if what I've heard is true, fans of Xbox 360 era JRPGs will have something to look forward to at the showcase. Now, Nate did reply with a blue dragon, so we'll quiz him on that on tomorrow night on the Direct Xbox. Tune in there, see what he has to say for himself on that. But now, of course, the expectation is something with Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon, Infinite Undiscovery. You start thinking of some of the Xbox 360 era RPGs that are classics now, looking back on it. Some of them haven't aged the best, but still, having Mistwalker maybe come back into the scene with Microsoft. That's my big hope here, is that we see a new project that's funded by Microsoft, published by Microsoft, but developed by Mistwalker. That'd be a really cool partnership to revive, and that's what I'm crossing my fingers for. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Nintendo's newest release that, yes, came out on a Thursday, and I'm excited to pick that one up today, and that is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. And now, of course, it's leaked online. In fact, it leaked online the other day, so like 2 days ago. And it's interesting because typically we'll see these games leak out at times up to a week early. This time, not so much. And people are theorizing that could have to do with the way that Nintendo's distributed the games, where we didn't see many of them go out to Walmart, right? Those were canceled. Remember, Amazon had a whole thing. And while, sure, the less avenues that you're distributing physical copies, say through online that go through warehouses and stuff, I guess technically there's less chances for it to leak out. But it has been pointed out that this could just be sales discussion and deals behind the scenes that are keeping that from happening. Not necessarily Nintendo going, okay, we don't want this game to leak because, I mean, who's played this one before? Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Not that I'm sure there are new people to the game that'll be checking out for the first time for the Switch, but it's not exactly spoiling anything brand new for the internet anyway. Of course, it's been out on the GameCube for like 20 years, so there you go. The remakes of these older titles, the plot spoilers, it's not as impactful as if it was a brand new intellectual property or just a new game in general. Well, because now it's leaked out, which by the way, you can see Oatmeal Dome here pointing this one out, saying the game is leaked to the internet. Get this is an old game, but if you're a new player and concerned about being spoiled, it's time to implement anti-spoiler precautions. Now, though, it's leaked out online, so people are able to do patches to it. For example, Blue Wolf Blitz is showing off a 60 FPS patch for it, which there are actually many patches for these different Switch ROMs that get out there, where they'll just unlock the frame rate, and of course you overclock the Switch enough, and you can usually get higher frame rates in general. Or if you play in emulators, you can do all kinds of stuff there too. The funny thing about this, it appears to make the game more difficult, specifically in the action timing-based aspects of the combat, because the game maybe just sped up completely. Like, they haven't accounted for the idea of this game running at 60 FPS, it seems anyway, so this is kind of a pretty basic patch in order to get it there, so you don't really have those action-based commands that have kind of been adjusted with it. So, I mean, it looks better technically walking around, but it's not necessarily going to be a great experience when it really matters in some of those battles. On top of this, Ribshark here pointed out that there seems to be code for handling 4K resolutions in the new Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake. No idea if this is normal for Switch games or not, but I thought it was interesting. Okay, well, technically, sure, it is being pointed to here. I noticed people looked at this and said, well, that's obviously for the Switch too. I mean, not necessarily. It is weird that it's there, I will admit, and we've seen stuff like this before with Endless Ocean having frame rate that was at least prepared in the code for upwards, like, what, 240 FPS or something? Yeah, it's not exactly happening on the current Switch, and I think we really just have to hold out still, sit tight to see what Nintendo's just implementation of backwards compatibility and enhancements are in general, because I do think games will just run better on the next platform if it is indeed backwards compatible, which it seems like it's heavily implied just in general by the way Nintendo has talked to investors for the last year or two, that they're going to be pushing for that along with that Nintendo account system. So, more powerful hardware that even if it has an emulation layer running on it, I mean, you're probably going to have a steadier frame rate, and for games that maybe have a feature to unlock that frame rate, sure, up to 60 FPS. But as we're seeing with something like Paper Mario, a little more work goes into that with the timing and just the game itself being aware that it's running at that frame rate. So something to keep an eye on here, but I don't know if I would look at this and say, yes, absolutely guaranteed, confirmed that this is one that's being prepared for the next Switch to take advantage of 4K. Next up, let's talk about an absolutely ridiculous rumor that was making the rounds. Initially, it showed up and people were looking at it more as like a report, something that's just insider information. And then as the day went on, people started to really look into it and go, okay, maybe this isn't correct, which we can see this is posted up over on X. This is from Dior. They say with approximately 80 billion, this is for Microsoft, their cash on hand, Microsoft is preparing an offer of 16 billion for Valve. No stock, all cash. Okay, so this really did explode online. There's over 4 million impressions, and I saw this getting passed around constantly yesterday on social media throughout the day. People just using it as kind of a discussion piece, some refuting it, some saying, no, this is a thing, this is happening. And I do believe Microsoft has thought about the idea, we'll say, of buying Valve, because we saw it in that FTC leak where they accidentally uploaded a bunch of redacted files that weren't redacted. They were just there for everyone to see. Part of that was their strategy, looking around at a bunch of different companies, evaluating them and seeing how likely it was for them to be able to purchase them and what exactly the price could be. See, Valve is kind of difficult because they're a private company. So you can try to estimate their revenue and then go, okay, we'll pay 5 to 8 times that revenue. And Microsoft, when they were looking at them, found that Valve, sure, could have been worth upwards of $17 billion. But that was back in 2020 based on the document dates around that stuff. And as we've seen with things like inflation and just company valuations in general, they've completely ballooned. So I wouldn't be shocked if Valve saw themselves worth more like $25 to $30 billion, and then is Microsoft willing to make a move like that after what they did with Activision Blizzard? I don't necessarily think so. I mean, Steam, sure, it is a marketplace that if Microsoft had control of and would just come loaded with every single Windows PC, and the fact that so many people like Steam, it would be a massive, massive avenue for Microsoft into that PC gaming space, since they're having a hard time getting people to use the Windows Store, even though it comes with every single Windows PC. Anyway, Dior did go on to sort of explain some of their sourcing. Seems to be from an analyst somewhere, just kind of pulling numbers out of thin air for this. So, it wouldn't shock me if one day I woke up and Microsoft's acquired Valve, but I think a lot of things have to fall in place. Like, the stars have to align for that sort of thing to happen. And no, I don't think this tweet is actually leading to anything behind the scenes currently for Microsoft looking to buy Valve. Again, unless things really fall into their lap, like kind of with Activision Blizzard, where it seemed like Activision was trying to sell at like the peak of what they were valued at, so they started to look around. I don't really know why Valve would sell at this point. They're pretty comfortable just collecting 30% of everything that sells on Steam, which is a lot. So no, I'm not expecting that anytime soon, but I guess with Microsoft, you never know. Next up, let's stick with Valve for a moment, as a game they're developing has leaked out online. And it's interesting to actually talk about Valve as a company that develops games, because back in the day, they did quite frequently, but haven't as much. I mean, Counter-Strike 2, that was really fun to see that kind of get thrown out there, just sort of out of nowhere. And before that, Half-Life Alyx is an awesome VR game. And now we have another one to look forward to, that being Deadlocked, which this is posted up over on X. I can't necessarily show you the video because it does seem to be from a closed alpha, and I'm not really sure how Valve is going to respond, maybe with copyright strikes and takedowns, but nonetheless, here's the tweet, and I will also link to it down in the sources, which as of now, this recording, the video is still up for the gameplay. Anyway, they say, gameplay of Valve's upcoming 6v6 4-lane third-person shooter MOBA, Deadlock. It's formerly Neon Prime, which that was also something that's being discussed somewhat, but now we have just visual representation of someone playing it. 19+ heroes are currently playable in the closed beta. So, looking at the responses to this tweet, people do not seem happy with what they're seeing here. I will stress, though, it's a closed beta. Things will change. The reason they're doing a closed beta and keeping it under embargo is because of that fact. It's like, hey, we're going to be altering this quite a bit based on player feedback, and that could even come down to the visuals, the graphics, character models, and yes, the gameplay itself. Now, this game isn't necessarily one that I would be that interested in, but I will say it is nice to see Valve kind of back in that conversation again as a company that is developing games more frequently. Just mentioned the 2, and now maybe this one coming up in the next year or two. Still something to look forward there for, I guess, just Valve fans in general. And looking at it, it does seem like something that could do well enough on Steam, especially if it is indeed free to play. So I guess we'll keep an eye out for this one. Also, I saw some people mention that it's giving off the Fortnite vibes with the art style. It's like, no. This is giving off the original art style, that of Team Fortress 2. Thank you. It's like Fortnite now. That's what we think of when we see that over Team Fortress 2. And it's coming directly from Valve. It's like, man, the younger generation really has taken over. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Sony's plans for next week, as at least at this time, seems like people are looking for a showcase to get announced any day now. If it is indeed happening in May, well, it's got to happen next week. So people are currently honing in on like the 28th or the 29th, basically the middle of the week, go figure. But it appears we do have a big sale coming up next week as well. This we can see posted up. This is over on D Labs and Bill. saying we believe that the Days of Play 2024 will start from Wednesday, May 29th, and it will last to June 12th, 2024. So, okay, cool, about 2 weeks there. And of course, they're expecting discounts on the PlayStation Plus lineup, which they do that pretty much every time they have the Days of Play. And then you can most likely expect some sort of sale on the hardware, that being with the new PS5 revision that's dubbed the Slim. And if I were them, I would take the opportunity to start discounting PSVR 2s just to see if you can move any of them. Like, seriously, games maybe too, but the PSVR 2 hardware, I mean, get that thing as cheap as possible for the discount and just see if you can move any of them. But along with Days of Play, they did have the key art, and, you know, I think Sony's onto something here because they have Astro on the front, and that is, I think, the direction they need to go more with, is trying to build up some of these, I don't want to say B-tier intellectual properties, because clearly Sony likes Aloy from Horizon. She's all over a lot of different marketing pieces. They like Kratos from God of War. I think Astro is that perfect, like, just general audience character, and it makes sense that I think have them there if we are indeed going to get a new Astro game later on this year, once again, as a lot of speculation is mounting around that. So you have Days of Play next week. Does kind of make sense to also have a showcase maybe right before that. So, okay, a showcase on the 28th, then maybe Days of Play on the 29th. So could have a lot to look forward to here in the coming days for Sony. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, are you picking up any of the Kingdom Hearts games on Steam? Okay, 70% are just not interested, which, hey, if you already have these games being sold over and over and over and over again, you're probably like, I don't need to spend potentially $40 or $50 or something for the bundle. Then we have 25% later when there's a sale, and then 5%ers, yes, I'm buying it day one. I've been waiting for it to come to Steam. The Steam sale is definitely something to keep an eye on over the next year or two for these Kingdom Hearts games, because we've seen them go on sale quite well, with some serious discounts on PlayStation and Xbox before. So I do think Square will probably mark the price down well enough over the next 12 to 16 months or so, right, when we get into maybe next year. But this is just an exciting thing to see for really people who have Steam Decks, or just people who prefer Steam in general. And I think this also marks the kind of start of that strategy for Square Enix, where, yeah, I think Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be on as many platforms as possible on release. Summer Game Fest right around the corner, by the way. Maybe we hear about some stuff there, and maybe they flash things like the Steam logo, okay, for day one. I think that is a good idea for Square, and kind of hope they stick to that strategy here with something like Kingdom Hearts 4 after seeing all these other Kingdom Hearts games go to the platform. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Rosie, who says, how dare you remind me that Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is 20 years old. Now my back hurts. Yeah, it's always something for people to realize how old they are. I mean, 2 decades ago for Paper Mario Thousand Year Door with the GameCube. Doesn't feel like it was that long ago. The one that I think is really going to get a ton of people is next holiday. Okay, so holiday 2025. Not that far away, right? Like a year and a half. The Xbox 360 will officially turn 20 years old. That is going to hit people like a ton of bricks, and it's going to be really funny to see some of the reactions online for that one. But also, technically, the following year, the PlayStation 3, a system that came equipped with a Blu-ray drive, will be 20 years old. So maybe that's the one that'll really get people, but based on how that generation went and kind of the memories people have around that time period, I think it's the Xbox 360 that's really gonna do it. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Where's Paper Mario Thousand Year Door? Do you think that's a game that Nintendo's sizing up maybe for an enhancement for the next generation device? And then also, what about Microsoft potentially buying Valve? Do you think that ever actually happens, or is that just a rumor that got way out of control over the last day or so? And what we're seeing with Sony going into next week, could we expect maybe an announcement for a showcase here soon? And are you going to be picking anything up for their Days of Play? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.